7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
All right, welcome back to another edition of the Vegas Squares Golf Betting Podcast. Back in the studio, fresh off the Masters hangover. It was such an interesting weekend. I don't know really what the right word to say is, because I think CBS, to be honest with you, was probably looking at those first 6, 7 holes going, oh, shit, he's going to run away with it. People are going to turn off the TV. But a good buddy of mine said on Facebook, he says, I basically said it in a kind of a reverse jinx. I posted on Facebook, congrats, Matsuyama, Masters champion, well done. And he said, he hasn't turned to Amen corner yet. Are you just trying to jinx him? I said, partly yes, but 6-stroke lead. But I tell you what, gentlemen, what's a Masters without a little bit of drama? The back nine proved to be just as treacherous as it always has. We got Tony's in the studio, Tony Johnson and Token Tony. Token, your thoughts on this Masters? Like I said, it went from snooze fest down to must-see TV in those last about 8 holes or so.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I was watching a little bit before I left for work, and then I caught the tail end right before starting my shift, and just happy I was able to catch the end of it. I'm glad it was back in April, even though, the beginning of the week, the course was still partially dry. They were thinking about watering the greens supremely to make the balls kind of stick, and they did a little of it, but probably not as much as they were thinking in the beginning with the weather rolling through and all that. So it made definitely for lower scoring on Friday and Saturday for sure.
Full disclosure, I posted on social media, I had the Justin Rose ticket, and he comes out and fires a 7 under 65 on a day where everyone was having just the worst day. You saw the greens on TV. They weren't green, and they were tough. You saw guys like Dustin Johnson having to chip in, off the green. Just the only way he could get birdies in this spot. But, Justin Rose firing a 7 under 65 to start. And then when the conditions got better, Tony, he didn't. It was the weirdest thing to me.
Yeah, it was, I'll admit I thought I was much more shocked at the fact that he had a 65 to begin with than versus the last 2 rounds. Because, again, Justin has been struggling. That's, I think, very, very well documented over the last year and a half. And even before that point, he was a top 10 machine. So he went from, being near machine-like to, this really long-term struggle that he's had recently. And, it's hard to predict when these things are going to, fall. It's the always catch the falling knife old adage. And I don't try to play that game in general, although Justin certainly does have the record here to show that, he's able to compete, no matter, even if his game is not, at its best. But, yeah, to be honest with you, I wasn't all that shocked to see that happen. Although on Sunday, we'll say some of the better shots that were hit besides for Mr. Schauffele up until the 16 were really from Justin Rose. Justin really was in control of his golf swing. I was very impressed with some of the shots that he played, especially on 11, the one on 12. He had a really close one on 14. He actually played quite well down the stretch. So I think we're now on notice for sure. And again, the odds makers are going to adjust too. This is, we all saw it. So it's not like we're going to get a great number, I don't think, on Justin Rose going forward. But just in case something does happen, maybe he struggles the next week out, and then the number kind of drops again. We can maybe find a spot here, because I really liked what we saw from the golf swing. I liked how in control he was. He just couldn't keep it together, Friday and Saturday. But I didn't really see a lot of really bad loose shots. Just, not proximity to the hole, not nearly as close. Didn't really make a lot of putts. Obviously made almost everything on Thursday, and it's hard to repeat that.
Well, and that was like you're saying. He shot the 2 craziest even par rounds I've ever seen on Friday and Saturday, given the fact the conditions were much better than Thursday. Yeah. It had to be frustrating for him. But, I'll say this. And, again, this is the Masters recap we're talking. We also are going to preview the RBC Heritage as well. Obviously, it's the event right after the Masters. We still got a decent field for that one as well. But I will say this. I mean, I know we may. I mean, I listen to a lot of golf podcasts. We may be one of the biggest staunch supporters of this guy, John Parr, more exclusively, and myself. But talk about ice water in your veins, Token. Billy Sizzle, man.
Absolutely.
I don't want to throw you guys under the bus, but the three of you guys gave him zero chance.
I didn't like the idea.
Oh, yeah, you don't even. I thought you were gonna try to justify it. I'm like, oh
no, I didn't like the thought of him performing in his first Master, but his golf IQ definitely helped him with that for sure. I was doing a little research and right before we started, and it's interesting how the rules and all that with the pandemic last year, his exemption this year, his like status for next year and stuff. He's not eligible for the FedEx Cup right now.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he's kind of getting the short end of the stick here in terms of making money. I'll tell you that. Especially,
but he'll be fully exempt next year for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been talking about actually. I mean, Token, you've been talking. I mean,
yes.
I don't want to take away from you. You're the one who started with it.
That's the point I was going to make. Absolutely.
I think yes. John and I kind of ran with it, but you started with this guy on Corn Ferry. Speaking of Corn Ferry, this week I'm going to have some social media posts on Vegas Squares for that. I think I'm going to take my father-in-law to one of the rounds there.
Oh, nice. Jerry will like that, yeah.
But, you started with this train on Billy Sizzle. He does remind me of a young Spieth. Nothing really phases him. He just stepped up. And I'd like to see this guy in the future have great success at Augusta, maybe even win it. But I think we got a stud going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I see him just continue being in the top 10, 15 almost every time out. I don't see him struggling really to make cuts. He keeps his composure very well. He is a very good ball striker, all-around great golfer, and he's got a good attitude towards the game, all-around great sport player. So, and I don't want to foreshadow a little bit. As much as I'm going to give him some love, I'm not on him this week. But I mean, he could probably prove me wrong in that spot. Going back to the, congratulations are obviously in order for Hideki Matsuyama. He's been a solid player. He's had some of the greats like Jack Nicklaus tell him and tell us he's going to be one of the greats. He's never really been super dominant or anything, but the first Japanese player to win a major, the second Asian player to win a major, first Asian player to win the Masters. Fun fact here, Token, who was the first Asian player to win a major? Do you know? No, I actually don't know.
I think Tony might know.
I would assume it's Y.E. Yang, but I don't know
that is correct.
If there's anybody before him, yeah.
Do you know who he beat, Token?
No.
Chased Tiger Woods in 2009.
He sure did. Sure did. That was a great tournament.
That was. I remember that one. At Hazeltine, right?
I think you're right. Good call. I was thinking Southern Hills, but I actually think you are right.
I was going to say Hazeltine or Medina, but I can't remember.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Way,
yeah. I'll go with Hazeltine. I'm with you. That's fine.
Yeah, so we got a couple of things, like I said. Hideki's win, what that means, it's unfortunate that he wins in 2021 when the Japanese media can't all be there to go crazy around him. But Hideki said, in Butler Cabin and said in a couple other interviews, like, that actually kind of worked out for him that they were there. It didn't stress him out. It didn't make him jittery or go crazy. And maybe that's a good thing for him. I don't think that's going to stop them from being all up and down his back. But, he had a spot. He picked a great spot to kind of get it done here. I'll tell you another fun fact here, Token. I know this one I don't think you'll get. This one I didn't know. I had to look it up. But do you know who the last Masters champion to have his last round over par was? To have his fourth round over par and still win.
Bubba?
Question.
No, it wasn't Bubba. I'll give you one more shot and I'll send it to Tony.
I'll say Schwartzel.
No, it wasn't Schwartzel. That would be fitting, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think it was even par, but one of Phil Mickelson's Masters was it might have been over. I'm just going to go with Phil Mickelson because I don't know, but I think it was even. But I'm saying Phil Mickelson is my guess.
It is not Phil Mickelson.
Okay. All right. Then I'm out.
It's Trevor Immelman in 2008.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Nope.
Shot his last round.
Yeah,
One over.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
No, I had no chance.
I know. I didn't think he would, but we talk about the back nine drama. You talked about that a little bit with Xander Schauffele. I mean, Tony, I'll kind of let you run with this because this is your guy. You even said it when we did the draft last week. I can't show my face if I don't pick this guy. It's, we talk about the Finau Schauffele comparison that we do on this show.
Oh.
And Finau tends to do it, in less of a spotlight, I guess to say. Schauffele seems to do it on the biggest stage. And that's not a slight because you're going to get paid a lot more money than Tony Finau is. But you just feel for the kid. I mean, he never has a frown on his face despite whatever happens. And you felt the gap closing. Maybe you felt Matsuyama's butthole clenching a little bit. Zalatoris is sitting in there. Maybe I got a shot at, a playoff in this thing. And he just dunks it. Just dunks it right on 17. And then it was his drop shot. I think he hit it all the way to Harbor Town.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, and he talked about it afterwards, and you can't do anything better than he did. He hit the ball exactly how he wanted to. He said he flushed it. The wind came up late and it knocked the ball down, and it was something they couldn't plan for. And it's something as, again, I'm not nearly the player as Xander Schauffele, and that's provable from when I played with him when I was 11 years old or something like that, or 12 years old. I mean, when he was 11 or 12, he was a fantastic player. But yeah, it's just. Sometimes you can hit a great shot and you get a really, really poor result because things out of your control are there. And he hit a lot of great shots. And, the only thing I'll disagree with, Aaron, is I just don't see a whole lot of comparisons. Xander's won 4 times on the tour. Tony Finau's won
devil's
once.
advocate in this spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I only react to what is said. And he's also done it in the biggest stages, tour championship, things like that. Whereas, Finau, won his tournament in Puerto Rico, in a one-off event. He has not done very well on some of the bigger stages. Recently, he has played a lot better on some of the majors. I'll give Tony credit there for sure. But to me, Xander's an absolute 100% gamer. In fact, I think on the smaller events, he tends to really not be as focused, and he's actually a lot worse, I think, in the smaller events. So as the events get bigger, I want Xander more.
Sure.
So that's the only thing that I'll say. And again, it wasn't one of those, the great thing about it, and why, another reason why we all like him so much is he owned it, and he realized, they asked him the question right afterwards, what happened on 16? He said, I flushed the shot. It just, the wind came up and it wasn't the right club and we make a mistake. Yeah, it was my 3rd Masters. It's a learning process out here. I know that. And, we'll learn and we'll get better. And that's just, what an amazing number one interview and attitude to have, right after, kind of letting it go. Not to say he was going to win, we don't know, but he certainly had a shot.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that's the nice thing to see is he went after it. And in spots where, guys have to make birdies, especially on hard holes and in difficult conditions, Xander is in my top 5 of guys that I want. When you have to go after it and keep your foot on the gas, he is a guy that keeps his foot absolutely on the gas, and he can miss greens and get up and down. He was 5th or 6th in scrambling last year, despite how good of a ball striker he was on tour. It's just that's the kind of player you want. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think there could have very well been some more wins on his resume, but they already have 4 at this stage of his career, and again, he's a lot younger than Tony Finau as well. I really, really, really like what we're seeing here. I would be surprised if he's not in the top 3 by the end of the year. I think there's a very, very good chance he will be. And then if there's a lot of fluctuation, if DJ continues to struggle and we see this kind of top end go up and down and flow, there's no reason that Xander can't be the number 1 player in the world by the end of the season. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But glad he's taking the week off this week because this is not – if there was ever a bad fit for Xander Schauffele, it's this week upcoming at the Heritage, which is really a specialty kind of track.
Yeah, and you know what? Okay, maybe maybe the comparison may be more likable to, or more comparable to maybe a Phil Mickelson early in his career. Just really
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm there. I'm there for that one.
But
Yes.
you never counted the guy out. Obviously we had the run of
Yeah.
Tiger, and there's not really a Tiger dominance in here, but it seems like any one of DJ, Bryson, Koepka, Rory, Berger, any of these guys could be that, step into that role. And it just seems like, you're right. If my money's on the line, I want Schauffele in these spots. It's just quite unfortunate that something like 16 really just gets away. And you can probably, attest more to this. It just seems like there's always that one thing that just keeps him away from holding the trophy or the jacket.
There have been some events, especially recently.
One decision.
Yep, especially recently over the last year, Xander's had a lot of close calls. He could have very well beaten Daniel Berger even in the first tournament back there at the Colonial. So yeah, he's had a lot of close calls, especially recently. But just keep getting yourself in position. Phil, I like the Phil Mickelson comparison. He never backed down. He never stopped getting himself in the mix. He could have easily faded and had a very nice career, but not the incredibly hallmark Hall of Fame career that he had. He just stayed there and he stayed grinding. And so I think Xander is hopefully a guy that we see continue to do that if the fire is still there, and there's no reason to not believe that it won't be. But I think that's a better I like that comparison better.
And Toby, the good thing about this, the good thing about these things is, for a guy like Schauffele 20 years ago, finishing fourth just wasn't as lucrative. I mean, you make more money now than you would have won a tournament 20 years ago. So I wonder if that affects motivation. Maybe not on Schauffele, but maybe on some of these guys. We always joke about the Kevin Kisner quote, but finishing fourth, that pays for a lot. It pays a lot of bills.
Yeah, exactly. It pays a lot of the yearly fees almost. I mean, they can kind of just grind off that one good performance of the tournament in these kind of above average, mediocre events almost even, and still find a way to contend week to week and not really sweat about making a cut this week to buy grandma's house or something.
Thanks, Happy. Speaking of, congratulations to his caddy.
Nice.
Second last week.
Yeah, you saw that one too.
I love that he leaned into it. I mean, I didn't even think about it because, God, it's been 20 years since I've seen Happy Gilmore. But, I love that his wedge, he had custom on his wedge, Mr. Gilmore, I'm your caddy. Yeah, I gotta go back and look at that. He's got
the picture was great. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's true. I mean, they look alike. It's pretty funny. So. I just talked about it earlier. I want to touch back into it. Some of these guys were in our draft, and some of these guys were obviously near the top of the leaderboard. But let's talk about the big names that missed the cut. We obviously talked about DJ. Rory, I would say for most of us, probably wasn't terribly surprising. Koepka probably not too, because he was hurt. Bryson almost missed the cut. You got Berger. You got Cantlay. I mean, Tony, when we were doing our draft, you're like, I want no part of this guy. Well, it turns out it was the right move. But, you talk about Lee Westwood. We were talking about how good he played golf. I can't remember. I think Bobby was in love with him last week as well. It was just, for as crazy as I was surprised about Justin Rose firing the 65, just none of these guys could seem to really play good golf this week. And I didn't know if I didn't have an explanation for it because, I mean, with all due respect, when Matsuyama can tame the course, when guys like Justin Rose can tame the course, you'd think, Dustin Johnson, I know this wasn't November, but the guy went 20 under like 5 months ago. I just don't have an explanation for why some of these – I mean, I have an explanation for some of them, not giving Rory an excuse or an out. He's still one of the top players in the world. And Koepka's knee injury. But, I was real high on Berger, and for him to just really not be competitive. Some of this stuff I just really didn't have an explanation for, Tony, and it just kind of surprised me.
I would agree with some of those names, absolutely. I'm a little bit more shocked at McIlroy. I thought that this was a really, really good spot for him. Bobby and I know we're both on him. So that was a shocker to me. But, yeah, some of the other ones, and Berger, are definitely a shocker too. It's rare to see him just miss a cut. I think it's his third missed cut since the recent last year, so pretty crazy stuff there. But Yeah, I mean, some of the other names, again, Patrick Cantley, we talked about that, last week, that he has, not played all that well these last 2 or 3 weeks. And then just this side of the country, all his wins and most of his really great player in California, where he's from, and that part of the landscape. So he tends to struggle a little bit out here, although this week, maybe upcoming, maybe not. He is 3 for 3 with 3 top tens here at the RBC. But yeah, DJ is that exact case too. That was one of those that I think we all nobody really on the panel I know wanted to be on him really either. That was not a guy nobody anybody was backing, and that was a really, really smart play. There was a lot of money that came in on DJ this last week that was not good money. So he's just a guy that is not hitting the ball close to the hole. I know it sounds really simple, but when your wedge game is off, which his is, and it's been so good these last couple of years, it's hard to score. We know how putting is, how difficult it is at Augusta, and he just wasn't getting it close enough to the hole. Therefore, you don't make birdie putts, and you're going to leave yourself testers coming back for par. He had a couple of bad 3 putts, and all of a sudden he misses the cut. The plus 750s out there, a la Bobby style. Missing the cut for DJ got paid nicely, but yeah, I mean, it's shocking, yes, but he has not played very well, last 3 or 4 weeks. So again, I'm not, nothing drastic there. So. Yeah, it was. It was interesting to see some big names. Definitely just outright missed the cut, because it is the easiest cut to make out of the 4 majors, just because the bottom end of the field is so weak. But yeah, I mean, it was still shocking to see that we had a handful of guys like that. Sanjay M just continues to play really bad in majors too. Overall, a little bit surprising as well. I was a little shocked to see his massive score. He had near an 80, I think, one of those days. So yeah, really bad score from him. Yeah, so no, I'm with you. There was some surprise performances, and I want to make a quick shout out to Robert McIntyre. I've been following him very, very closely. A la kind of token style here with how he was following Willie Z from 2 years, because I listen to a lot of golf podcasts too, Aaron, over the last 2-3 years. Nobody talking about Willie Z. Token, the very first. I knew who he was by name, but that's it. And then Token started talking to him. I followed him then after that. I'll say McIntyre I've been on for now 2-3+ years as he's been rising in the rankings. I like Robert McIntyre a lot. We'll see him this week as well in Harbour Town, a very interesting event for him to be playing in. Does not have his PGA Tour card. He's still on the European Tour, but weird little track here. Has some link style comparisons to it. He is from Scotland, so that's kind of fun. But shout out to him, playing really well at his first Masters, finishing in the top 20. So nice to see. Big hitting lefty, really fun guy, interesting dude. He'll be great if he can get his game together long term. He'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, speaking of lefties, I thought maybe Brian Harmon had a little bit of a shot there this weekend. Didn't quite pan out that way. But I want to talk about a couple of scandals, for lack of a better word. Some of the more negative things that came out of Augusta this week. The first one, I don't know if you guys saw, obviously, it didn't really matter to the effect of his weekend, but Matt Wolff getting disqualified after signing an improper scorecard. Something I learned today, or learned this weekend, that you don't carry your own scorecard.
You're a marker for another player.
Yeah, I did not know
another
that.
player in the group. Yeah, so and then you get together usually at the end. I'm not exactly sure how tour protocols are, but I think it's kind of standard throughout. Is at the end you sit down right before you turn in the cards. You go over each score hole by hole, because the hole by hole needs to be right with whoever marks your card and whoever you're marking for. You make sure it's all together. You write little check marks on it. At least that's what I used to do, just to make
little
sure.
Dots
or dot.
Yeah,
absolutely, exactly.
Golf, so I didn't know these things. I assume you keep your own score too, and I mean,
oh sure, of course, because that's how you compare it. Yeah, exactly.
In high school, yeah, usually you keep it for somebody else, and then on that same scorecard, like on the bottom, I would keep my own score. But everybody's a little different, so.
Yeah, it's fair. It's just something I learned today, and he signed an improper scorecard. I don't know the backstory. I didn't really hear anything from Matty Wolff other than hey, shit happens, because he was already 10, 11 over par. It wasn't like
he was missing the cut pretty much.
It just seems to kind of add a stain for people who don't know these things. Because my thought was, what a cheater! Like, why are you cheating? You're 10 over fucking par. I mean, what are you trying to prove here? So it kind of stained until I learned different thing. He signed an improper scorecard, but. The people who don't dive deeper into that, he's already got some issues. He got some health issues. There's people on tour that don't like him. That's just based on hearsay from me. I'm not I'm not one of those guys.
Health
But-
issues. Health issues. Definitely one of the bigger things, in my opinion, for a fade for him. Sure.
Sure, but I mean, if things continue like this, little things like that. I mean, 21 years old, Patrick Reed Jr. must have had a kid early in life.
Oh, oh, that's brutal.
That was a dig. My bad.
Oh,
That was a dig in the sand. My bad. Oh,
man.
Oh, speaking of sand, did you see Answer get a 2-stroke penalty?
Yeah.
yes, I did see the flattening. It seems like every week we get, or every other week we get one of these.
One of the
Yeah.
IOD rules and all that, and he handled that situation very well and bounced
He
back
did.
from it pretty well. So
Yes, he did. That's
Yeah.
true. He did handle it well. You're right, Token.
I mean, what's he gonna do? I mean, the problem
Yeah.
is this is the only tournament. I may be speaking out of place here, but this is the only tournament like you can actually get banned from.
Oh, for sure. Yes, it's
So,
an invite.
You make
Absolutely.
the other one. If you make the other tournaments, it's based on your performance. This one, your performance still doesn't get you in.
Nope.
Yep.
It's like being
That's
a high
right.
roller for Caesars Entertainment. Just because you bet a lot of money doesn't mean you're getting in. So,
nope.
Sure.
so
It's very true. Very
I
true,
think
Aaron, yeah.
That's the smart play. Is just take your lump and move on because
Yep.
Abraham Answer might be around a lot more times to win this. So or try to win this.
Yep.
This was the one I didn't even notice. I was kind of half asleep when I watched it, to be honest with you. But the starters, the starting group, obviously, congratulations go out to Lee Elder, the first black man to play in the Masters. But it turns out, and now that I remember seeing it, but I don't remember really focusing on it. It turns out Gary Player's son, who is his honorary caddy, what's his? I don't remember his first name, his real name. But looked like he was trying to sell some golf balls there, Token, while they were honoring Lee Elder, and he had his moment in the sun, and unfortunately he was too weak to send a tee shot down. But in the corner of the screen, the top right corner of the screen, there was a sleeve of Encore balls, and it didn't look like Gary Player's son was holding them naturally, let's say.
Yeah.
It looked like some viral guerrilla marketing in a time where we're honoring a player who went through a lot of pain and strife in an era where Gary Player played. And again, I don't think any of this falls on Gary Player. I would hope it doesn't, but maybe there is some more to the story. It just looked really bad. I'm sure the player statement, the statement's going to come out that it was inadvertent, and maybe we'll all forget about this by next week. But I'm hearing rumors that he's not allowed to come back to Augusta.
He's been banned. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
has he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he did. No, he's done. Yeah.
Wow, he got banned from Augusta. That's crazy.
I'm not.
That's what I read.
Yeah, I'm not too shocked by that banning.
When I heard the story,
Not
I
either.
didn't know that he had been banned yet. So, okay, fair enough. I got breaking news.
It came out on Monday, I think. At least Golf Digest reported that they had banned him. They don't just Augusta doesn't just say, "Oh, we're banning all these people," or whatever. It's quietly sort of done. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's,
No, it seems like, whether it was just
intentional or not.
just stand there with
not
the
a good
bag
time.
and hang out. What are you doing? What are
I mean,
you doing?
Not the right
Like,
place,
holding
right
like
time.
this, like nobody holds their sleeve
Yeah.
like this.
Nobody. Exactly.
Honestly, if he did this and just put the sleeve like that,
That'd be a different story.
Anything.
you could
Yes.
totally play it off and be like,
But
"That's
yeah.
not my fault. I'm just standing here."
He was
Yeah.
presenting it. He's like, look,
But he was like this. I mean, it was not great.
Ridiculous. Yep.
It's not great. So, I was listening to a podcast, and I don't want to steal their content, but I wanted to kind of talk about this. It's not really Masters related, but I listened to it, and they had probably a 45-minute discussion on it where I literally think no answer is wrong. But they said if you could choose between the two, if you could have a 1-hour sit down with your favorite if you could have a 1-hour sit down with Tiger Woods, talk about whatever you want. He's an open book. He won't sugarcoat anything for you. Or if you could play around with your favorite golfer. Now, if obviously it not being Tiger Woods, which one would you do?
I'll play around with my favorite golfer.
Yeah, is that an easy one?
For me, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
I'm the same answer. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I feel like if I could have an hour with Tiger Woods and he doesn't lie, I don't know. That'd be kind of.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I guess you get some interesting
Yeah,
nuggets.
especially as of now, after all the crap he's been through and all
He's
that.
literally he drank truth serum. Like, I don't know. It was a tough one. And, it's a 4-man podcast, and they were basically split down the middle for 45 minutes. Eventually, they all landed on playing a round of golf with their favorite golfer.
Absolutely, all day, every day. I mean, you learn a lot more about a person from a round of golf than you do an 8-hour shift at work. So
that's fine. But Token, I mean, with all due respect, playing a round of golf with our favorite golfer, we may never see him because we're chasing balls in the lake, and woods.
That's fine.
That's fine.
You come help.
I love Token.
Yeah.
Token's unfazed.
All right. Well, to recap and wrap up the Masters, I have the results of the Masters draft right here between myself, Tony, Token, and Bobby Digital here. And I will tell you this, other than myself, it was a close one, boys. We had the $50 bet. Nobody had Matsuyama, so no extra bonus for the winner. And by a whopping $72,000, thanks to John Rahm's beautiful performance on Sunday, Token takes home the trophy with $1,022,925.
Definitely squeaked that one out. I thought I was
by 72K over Tony Johnson at 950.
I thought I was definitely dead going into the weekend. And
yeah. I will say this, though. I found out that even if you missed the cut at the Masters, they still give you $12,000. But it wouldn't have helped any of us.
No.
I did not know that, by the way. I did not know you got to pay.
Because it's invitational. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Oh,
you get
nice.
12K
Generous.
just for being there. So I don't know how that's added to the rest of this, but I don't think it would have mattered either way. So 3 of us had 1 missed cut. Bobby had 2 missed cuts with McIlroy and Kevin Kisner. Tony, you missed Berger. Token, you missed Day. And I missed Dustin Johnson. That was the worst. My first pick. First pick with
tough
a Daniel
to recover.
0 Oberger.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I'll say this. I sent you guys on text. I know that you guys were picking on me with all my Zalatoris love. He was going to be my 5th pick, which would have beat all of them single-handedly. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. So.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. On the other side, we are going to turn the page and talk RBC Heritage from Harbortown and Hilton Head, South Carolina. Also, that general area is the home of the PGA Championship. I saw Colin Morikawa doing some media work over at Kiowa Island. So we will take just a couple of minutes here, let 12 Ounce pay some bills. And on the other side, we will give you our best bets, our value plays, our matchups, Tokens, daily fantasy, and I got to pay out a push-up bet on the other side. So we'll see in just a little bit.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
right, and we're back with the Vegas Squares Podcast Golf Betting Edition, and Token reminded me over the break what I missed. I forgot to ask you guys how you actually did. I'll start. I'll recap my bets. Futures, if you followed social media, you know my Finau, Berger, and Scheffler obviously didn't come. I mean, none of them came in, but my Zalatoris, I picked up a Schauffele one after the end of round 2. Kisner and Matt Jones, nothing. Zach Johnson, nothing. But having Zalatoris, Justin Rose, and Schauffele gave me a nice little sweat. Props and matchups, Berger missing the cut. Or I had Berger top 20, didn't come in. Rory top 10, didn't come in. But I did have Morikawa, Zalatoris, and Scotty Scheffler at top 20, all coming in. So, and I also had Matt Wallace missing the cut, which didn't come in. I ended up actually, before having to pay Token out, making $2.
Nice.
I made $2.
Hey, profit's a profit.
Pretty good.
And then I had to give it to Token Tony. So.
Yeah. Well, I was similar in the near break-even phase, although on the other side of that, down, I don't know. I think it was around 20-ish or so, which is sort of shocking because there was quite a bit of money wagered. It's hard to break even with that much wagered. But, as always, I kick myself every time because it's the props that I come through with more than anything else, and the props were good. Just had one make-miss cut, and that was my boy Tyrrell Hatton to make the cut at -310, and he did
you
that.
paid a price for that, but you came through.
Yeah, that's true. Again, it's weird because it's a price. Yes, we don't want. Obviously, betting on these big minuses is never always the most comfortable. But if I really think the number is he's a 6 to 7 to 1 favorite to make the cut, which I really do think Tyrrell in that type of field is. It's a bet that needs to be made. So it's I know we've talked about that before in years past. On the podcast. And again, not saying if the handicap was right or wrong, who knows? I think it was right. It's just, it was the only one, there's 40 listed on there. It was the one I thought that made the most sense. So that was a good one. And then top 10s, top 20s went pretty well. Didn't get McIlroy top 20, which was unfortunate. And then didn't get Jordan Spieth, who had a really nice Sunday, had a chance to not to top 10 and maybe potentially not top 20 if he had a kind of a rough Sunday, but he went the opposite direction on the back nine, started out poorly. So we lost those two, but we did win all the other ones. DJ no top 10 20, Cantley no top 10 20, which was good. So it was okay, pretty good in that sense. And then matchups, we only made the 5 that I talked about, I believe, right directly on this podcast. I just did not add any more. Went 2 and 3 there. Again, Tyrrell Hatton coming through more than anybody else. And then when you don't get any of the futures, I went for it a little bit more than normal, just because I thought there was a wide range of guys, with these bigger numbers that had a shot. And it was really only Bernd Wiesberger that really had that shot with that number. But when you miss all of those, certainly it does hurt a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out my valuations and how much I should be betting on certain things. And I just think I do need to be betting a little bit more on the props, even more so than speaking before. But again, basically a break-even week is fine. You'd like to do better in a major with all the options, but could have been a lot worse.
That's fair.
Absolutely. And me, I went 3-1 in my matchups. The only one I lost was Will over Wallace. Will kind of blew up on the back nine on Friday, winning Woodland over Wolf with that DQ. I thought maybe he would even withdraw with injury or just poor performance like he even did. Now over Muniz, that was Win, and Morikawa over Cantley at plus 140. That was a pretty easy victory.
Great bet. Oh, that's one of the better ones we had. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I did add one that was a loser, which was Oisozen over Zalatoris at minus 120. I went against Willie Zizzle, but it is what it is. And then props split those. Will to make the cut minus 130 was a loss, and then John Rahm top 10 plus 115 was good. So,
ooh, that Sunday was big for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Lucky boy.
Snuck it in. Yep.
That Rahm round was big for Token in all facets.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, not winning. Because I know that you were big in winning.
Yeah, I went 0-3 in my futures, but
keeps top 10. He's top 10 to every Masters, right? I think so. I think he's 3 for 3. That's remarkable.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
The thing is, if he just shoots 1 under each of the other days.
Yes.
He's in the mix.
Oh, he couldn't putt. He talked about it in his interview too. He was so frustrated. He's like, I just didn't play poorly. I just didn't really make anything. It's just, so frustrating when that happens.
It was the speed of the greens was the biggest challenge for a lot of these golfers.
Yes, I agree. I thought people struggled on the greens way more with speed than expected.
Especially on Saturday, right after that little rain, they really slowed up.
Totally true.
I don't know. I agree with you, but I really think the reason they struggled with speed, I just thought the course made them hit the ball to bad spots. I mean, I saw
the wind.
It could be that too. Yeah.
Victor Hovland I want to say it was on like 7, and he put it off the green. And then you have the one guy who putted for ego, Bernd Wiesberger.
Oh, Wiesberger, yeah. That son of a bitch. I had a shot. That was so good. He was playing so well.
Kudos. I love Thursday when like all those like Sandy Lyles, Ian Woostums, Wiesbergers, where they're Bernard Longer for like 12 holes. He was even par, and you're like, yeah, maybe one of these long ass. I mean, VJ never contended. Sorry, buddy.
Sad times.
He had a nice drive on 13. I will admit that.
Cool. So in 2 days, he had one good shot. So bittersweet for you there, Tony. But
unfortunate.
It's just I feel like the course made these guys hit to bad spots. I mean, you have Koepka, who I think went into 13, tried to take an aggressive line. Maybe it was 11. I think it was 13. He ended up going from a beautiful 325-yard tee shot to a bogey. I mean, a 325 tee shot in the middle of the fairway and you bogey the hole. I mean, it's just that course will make you hit to bad spots. And you're right, the greens do no favors to anybody. I mean, but you see guys like Justin Rose who saves par a number of times on some brilliant putts. Xander Schauffele, some brilliant putts. Matsuyama, of course, had some brilliant putts. I want to say it was like hole 5 or 6. I want to say it's 5 because that's the one in between the par 3s where he saves par with like a 20-footer. And I was like, I'm about to turn the TV. He's not going to miss. This guy's not going to miss all day. So, yeah, I mean, it was just, like you said, it's not the most desirable outcome, but to break even in the major, have a little sweat, have a little fun watching a big tournament. And it's not the worst thing in the world. So. And, yes, kudos to Token for John Robb having the low round on Sunday and beating all of us. How'd that do for your DFS last week?
I would say it was slightly above average, but it wasn't impressive. I mean, I had nobody really in the top 10 except for Rom. So,
yeah, he definitely got there up there. So, yeah. All right. So let's turn the page. Move on to the RBC Heritage or the Heritage Classic, as they call it, played in Hilton Head at Harbortown Golf Links. This was one of the first tournament. I think it was the second tournament back from the restart. Webb Simpson won it in a big. He won it. I wouldn't say comfortably, but Abraham Answer was kind of chasing him. Never really seemed to be able to catch him. But wasn't that the one? Correct me if I'm wrong, Token or Tony. Where Abraham Answer hit every green in regulation on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, and Simpson made 2 huge putts. I disagree with you, and he made 2 huge putts in the last 4 holes.
Yes,
to run away with this thing. Yeah, it was Answer's tournament.
I can't remember it all.
It was definitely very exciting. Yes,
it was.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was. He ended up winning by 1 stroke. I thought he was up by a few. I think he.
But he just made everything. I thought Answer was going to win. It was so exciting.
Yeah, it would have been better if he had a.
That was the start of Token's Abraham Answer.
It was. It sure was.
So, anyways, like I said, we turn the page here to the 2021 RBC Heritage. Webb Simpson is your defending champion. We've got a decent field here. Nothing spectacular, I would say, but it's not bad. I would say we've got DJ in the field this week, and anytime DJ's in the field, you're going to get some eyeballs. He is the favorite, along with Webb Simpson. We've got Colin Morikawa, I hate saying this because I've been reading some articles. The amazingly talented Will Zalatoris, like the world's just coming out. I don't know. It feels weird. I feel like that punk rock kid in high school that found a band and listened to him for 5 years, and then all of a sudden, no, you guys can't like this guy. You're not allowed to like this guy. So we got Berger in the field. All these guys here near the top. So initial thoughts. I mean, Hilton Head's such a beautiful place. It's obviously known for golf. But I mean, I think we have a decent field here to have a decent tournament, Token.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is strong enough field and close enough field where I like everything about it. So a lot of my favorite golfers in the mix, and I'm sure a few of your guys' too. So It's going to be interesting how some of these guys that actually played all 4 rounds of the Masters kind of bounce into this one and go.
Well, that's what a lot of people, when I was reading, a lot of people were talking about how DJ, even though people are kind of on the fade train with him because he hasn't been playing well lately, well, he's had a little more time than somebody like Webb Simpson or Mark or Zalatoris. Guys like Dustin and Patrick Cantlay and Tyrrell Hatton, they look to these guys because they've had a couple extra days off. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, this field, Tony, how do you feel about this field? I mean, this seems more of a field that we have. There's some fields you look at, and I know you say it yourself, I think the winner's coming from that first clump. There's a big clump here of guys, some who are playing hot, some who are just good players Matt Kuchar, former champion here, is 50-1 here. So it's an interesting spot here where I think that we may have a leaderboard that just dances all weekend.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a great way of describing it, Aaron. The only thing I'll add is there's a ton of foreign players this week. A lot of new faces. I know I talked about McIntyre earlier, but there's a lot of other guys. We got Tommy Fleetwood making a second appearance here, which is a bit of an odd, spot that you might think. Obviously, we've seen Lee Westwood now, for a little while back over here. But again, a lot of other, guys are still over here, still playing. We have some up and coming players. A lot of older guys: Vaughn Taylor, Luke Donald, Brian Gay, guys that are in their 50s that have won here before and or done well, just old grinders. There's it's a varied field. I would agree with that. A lot of different things going on, and again, the course itself is so special. It's a specialty sort of course, and I know we'll get into that very shortly, but it's very hard to handicap a tournament like this, especially for outright winner. And when you're in spots like that, so I'm not to say that you shouldn't be making bets, because obviously if there's good numbers and the numbers are too far elevated, then you should get on those. But it's a spot I don't want to have a lot of favorites. I have one that's in one of our double digit guys, and then that's it. And then I'm all the rest of the way kind of as per usual, just because I think it's a spot here. And my favorite bet of the week I have one that I like more than others, and it's a fun one. It's a fun name too. So I'm looking forward to it. I love most fields, as you know. I'm very biased. I'm extremely biased. But I really like it. I love this tournament. I love this course. So this is one of my favorite weeks, and I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Can I make a guess at your favorite name?
You can. It's based on number, although more than anything else, but yes.
Is it Anirban Lahiri?
It is not, but I like where you're at, though. Nice.
He did decent in Texas a couple weeks ago.
He did. He had a really nice week, didn't he? Yes, an older grinder. Again, same type of thing. Absolutely. So guys like that can play well here. We've seen Luke Donald. He's got, 5 second places in his career. So, it's can happen.
So, and of course, Token, this is a Pete Dye course, and Pete Dye's a motherfucker. So.
Oh, exactly. I've played a lot of Pete Dye courses over the years, and they're notorious with kind of smaller greens. So I like that. It definitely puts a lot of emphasis on scrambling or greens in regulation. So.
Well, that, and plus, who's a big Pete Dye, who's got a lot of success on Pete Dye courses? Your boy.
Answer.
Your other boy.
Schwartzel.
Siwoo.
Does play well on these courses.
More to come about him later this podcast, but
there we go.
Let's just say he might be on my card this week.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Well, he did lose in a playoff 3 years ago here. So
all right. Well, let's move into the course outline here, as Tony Johnson so eloquently does it every week. RBC Heritage in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. I have been to Hilton Head. I have not been to Harbor Town Golf Links here. So this is new to me. So, Tony, take it away. Give me a stick outline of Harbor Town.
Absolutely. Same thing with me, Aaron. I've been there a couple of times myself, just have not been able to play the course yet, hopefully, because it is one of those I definitely do want to play. But, I think, the few times that we've done this over the podcast, the thing that comes up more than anything else is it's just a classic Carolina type of course. It's one of those that's unfortunate not to have John Parr on. It's always unfortunate not to have John. But I know he loves things like this, the old kind of southern roots of golf. And I know he gets off on that, and it's great. It's a great thing. It's and that's what I like about John. It's because he really loves that type of stuff, and he really enjoys that aspect of golf, and I do too. And this is what that is. This is a course where brute force, brute strength is never going to get there. You're never going to see Bryson DeChambeau with this course on his playlist unless he A, becomes an RBC sponsored guy, or B, he goes through some big struggles and needs to get points and get going for some reason. It's just not going to happen. Why is DJ here? Well, he's sponsored by RBC. So, there's no reason for DJ to be here. I think I mentioned that last month. Not to lie, I've done pretty decently betting matchups against DJ here over the years. These last couple of years where he's been a sponsored player, it's just the driver's out of his hand. The driver's out of his hand completely, and you have to just hit specific shots to specific areas. And there are certain guys that are going to do really well with that, and there are other guys that are not. So yes, getting into the course here before we get too far down that road. Par 71, 7,121 yards. So a little bit on the shorter side, especially with 3 par 5s out there. But, the biggest thing here with any coastal track, really, to be honest with you, is going to be the wind and the conditions and how it goes. Harbour Town is really right on the edge there. So you do get a lot of those coastal type of weather spots. But again, this week, it does look like we're going to miss some of the major weather that can pass through around this time of year. Over in Hilton Head Island. Benign conditions, especially in the weekend, light winds, maybe even a little bit of rain on Saturday, which will soften the course up a little bit, and we might get some scoring later on in Saturday into Sunday. But Thursday and Friday, a little bit more difficult, especially Thursday if we do get some wind, some heavy rain, thunderstorms. Might get a delay. We'll see how the weather shakes out, but definitely going to be windy, gusting into the 20-mile-an-hour range. We're going to see some higher scores on Thursday. There's going to be guys that are going to play themselves out of this tournament on Thursday because of 77 and 78, you're just not going to be able to come back from. The cut is just going to be too low. There's too many quality players in this field, and you're not going to be able to come back from that. So we are going to see some guys, make some big mistakes, some really gross mistakes, probably going into the back and be out. And so, again, win players I think are really important. And Token talked about this, and this cannot be said more, is that scrambling. This is one of the weeks where I tend not to focus all that much on scrambling. This is an exception to that rule. Scrambling is very, very important this week. We've talked about how small Pete Dye greens are in general. These are about as small as they get, and Pete's designed hundreds of courses. 3,700 square feet is the average size here. And some of these greens, I looked at it, were 3,100, 32, 3,250. So there are some in the 4,000s too, but there's a couple that are barely 3,000 square feet that are dome-shaped. I mean, hitting these greens is just difficult in general. Not only added to that, Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass, which tends to be the hardest grass, some people think, in regards to grain and trying to putt on, especially if you're unfamiliar with it. Now, the good thing about the Southeast guys, most of them did tend to grow up playing on Bermuda. No matter really where you grew up in the Southeast, there tends to be a lot of Bermuda grass growing. So that does bring a big benefit, and we'll see some of these players, and I've got a whole list of guys that I tend to be on for Bermuda putting, guys that tend not to be, and they do almost entirely succinct in the Southeast, in England, and in Australia. So very, very interesting kind of information there. One of the other things that doesn't get talked about, very narrow off the tee. Not only can you not really hit driver, but it's hard to even hit some of these fairways, even with a metal or with a hybrid. 22 yards wide on average from about 300 yards out on these holes. And then you can also get blocked out. So even if you do hit the fairway on a very narrow fairway, you can get blocked out from overhanging trees. So you just have to be very, very specific. There's a reason why guys like Graham McDowell have won this tournament, and Matt Kuchar, and just these old short-hitting grinders. It is that type of course when your ball striking is on and you can make a few putts and be able to get up and down. That's the case here. So, that's what it is. We don't see a lot of big hitters that come here. It's just an easy skip. Justin Thomas is not going to play here. Guys like that are just not going to play because it's not worth it. You can't really hit the driver. That advantage goes away. And we see, look at this top board, of the top 10 players here right off the board, there are not a lot of big hitters. That's just so rare for this day and age. We have Cam Smith, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, although he's not that short of a hitter. Willie Z is not terribly long. Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay. These are not huge hitters. Webb Simpson. DJ is really the only one that's a real bomber out of the top 10 guys off the board, and there's just it makes a lot of sense to me. So that's kind of where I'm at here. Focused on the weather, focused on the scrambling, focused on putters, and I graphed those out. I kind of have a great list working off here. And then again, talking about some of the previous past history from some of these players, a lot of the Southeast guys that have played well here. Matt Kuchar's made 16 consecutive cuts. I tend not to get deep into course history for a lot of guys. I really like to see how they've been playing recently. But a guy that's made 16 consecutive cuts, 6 top 10s and a win in that streak, you just cannot ignore that. You cannot be ignored. So, a lot of the foreign players also play well here. Ian Poulter has 4 straight top 20s here, very quietly been playing really, really well in this part of the country. So that's where we're at. I like this type of golf. It's really nice. If this was every week, it would not be, ideal. We do want to see some bombing. We want to see that kind of excitement. But when you got to grind along on a course, that gets really windy and strange, I love this stuff. So I'm very, very much looking forward to this. And this is one of the tournaments out of the year that I really love handicapping too, because there's a lot of nitty gritty that we can get to. Oh,
maybe I should unmute my. So that's definitely sure. You're right. This is a course that doesn't take anybody out of it except for maybe some of the older guys in that spot, maybe the Davis Loves of the world, who's won this, 2 or 3 times. But
yes.
You never know. Davis could put together a round of his life. But I do have a couple of guys that may have to put together the rounds of their life here in the futures bets. And that's what we'll get kind of going into here. And Token, since you start us off every week in futures, why change? What do you got?
So I've got a couple towards the double digit and closing into the triple digit in this realm that we normally go off of. So I'm going to start with my closest to the favorite, which is going to be Brennan Todd at 65-1.
He's just played very average since the tournament.
He has, but this course suits him very well. So I like him off the tee. His ball striking is pretty decent. He'll know where to aim, and if he actually produces pretty well off the tee, it'll set him up for success into the green. So, and then probably my favorite golfer this week.
We got the winner?
Doug Gim.
Fuck that guy.
Oh, Doug going back to the well.
I think on this course, small greens, he's very good at scrambling.
He is.
Very well rounded off the tee with accuracy, as well as distance isn't great, but you don't need distance on this course. So,
wow, going to the well with Doug Gim, that's tough.
It is, but it actually suits him well.
You can have him.
Okay, I'll take him.
Take him, absolutely.
I know. I looked at this here, and I know 12 Ounce partners up with mybookie.ag. What did you have Brendan Todd at?
65.
All right. Well, you can catch him on MyBookie here at 110-1.
Oh, that is a good number.
Well, I haven't made a ticket yet, so
I put some money on the account, and I've fired a few of these long shots. We'll get into them, Tony. I'll get into some of my closer futures after Tony. You give us some of these guys.
Beautiful. Well, we're just doing double digits, right? So I have one guy. I'll be relatively short here. This is now the third consecutive time I'll be betting on him. Again, it's not just token love here, but it's partly for me. I think some of these numbers have gotten a little bit better for Abraham Answer as we've gone along here. And, again, on this type of field, I really like what we saw from him last year. I was not sure that he could play and plod along on a course like this last year, and he proved me to be completely and utterly wrong. It is one of the most wrong things that I had thought in my golf handicapping history. I was very, very unsure that he could actually play well on a course like this, and I could not have been more wrong. So
then come Saturday, you're kind of rooting him on.
Oh, absolutely it was. Oh, for sure, Token. Yeah, hey, if you're going to be wrong, own it. And, it doesn't mean I don't want the guy to win. it was my opinion. But, he's a great guy, and I would love to see him do well, and he's got all the game in the world. So, Yeah, I mean, he ticked up to 32 on Circa. I know he's been kind of hanging around 25 to 30 at most places. He did tick to 32 and then just tick back down to 30, it looks like, tonight, which I think he'll probably stay right about there. It's generally a fair number. The number I made was 28, so it's not like we're talking about a huge difference here, but it's just enough. It's enough to get a bet here on Answer. I really like what we're seeing here. He played quite well. He's very quietly been playing well. When you hit every green in regulation 2 straight rounds, people talk about it, but nobody talked about him at the Masters at all. And top 20, and he played well, and so I like what we're seeing from him. So that is my only guy in the double digits, although these names are good. The names that, some of the names that Token brought up are good, and that Aaron, you may bring up. I think that they're very viable winners. Russell Henley can win the tournament, absolutely, at 60 to 1 or whatever the case is. Can Ian Poulter win at 80? For sure. Brian Harmon at 35, 30, for sure. But Tyrrell Hatton too. He came in and finished second or third last year. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm just saying that there's options. There's options. It's just
pretty wide open.
Yeah, and these are the guys that I analyzed, Aaron. And that's why I'm bringing them up because I have them written down. I have a massive sheet of just names and stats and all kinds of crazy stuff here. But I didn't fire it. I'm not going to unless the numbers just drastically change. But I just want to give you an idea of where I was thinking.
Well, let me see what I can fire any of these on your sheet there. So I have a confession to make, gentlemen.
Okay.
Although I have cashed out many times on it, my William Hill account is $0.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
This happens from time to time. I've been there.
Well, it's been a while for him.
Just recently.
The last time I deposited money in that account was 2017.
That's damn impressive. Damn impressive.
So it has finally hit a 0. So I had been talking about it. I've been looking about it. I actually put a few bucks on my bookie. So all of my bets are going to be my bookie lines. And I am starting with Tyrrell Hatton. I am going to ride that train with you at 28 to 1. This one I'm not 100% sold on. I haven't made this bet, but I think I'm going to. I think the number is not good enough for me unless it can go up. 25 to 1, I have Cam Smith on this one. I'd love to see it a little bit higher, but I haven't fired it yet. Token, your boy Siwoo. I got him at 50 to 1 this week.
Wow, good number. Very nice.
It's a good number, but I don't think he'll be in contention.
Well, let's hope he brings a putter, a working putter this week.
or doesn't break it halfway through. He was actually pretty impressive with that 3-wood, though.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. And 2 more guys I have. One is your guy, Charlie Hoffman, 65 to 1.
I like that pick.
He's been playing well for nothing other than he's been playing well before. Obviously, he took the week off. The week was taken off for him. And then at 50 to 1, I have Kevin Kisner. I don't think he was too happy about missing the cut this week. He made it expressly known.
He'll be a little extra rested.
And and he's the only reason I'm not loving this. I mean, the only reason I do love it. He's a South Carolina boy. These are his courses. But he's talking about implementing an aggressive change to the way he plays.
Ooh, no.
So
read that too. Yeah, that was
that's
weird.
A stay away comment. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm still gonna throw a few shekels. I threw $5 on Kevin Kisner at 50 to 1. So those are my double-digit guys. I've got a few. I'd like to get your numbers at Circa when I do it when we get back around here, Tony. So Token,
sure.
Your long shots here, your triples.
So what I see right now, I like Noren at 125 to 1. I'm sure at Circa and probably my bookie you could find them a little better, probably closer.
Why are you the way you
are? At least it's not Schwartzel. I've been off of Schwartzel for like 8 months.
And you've been on Doug Gim and Alex Noren in the same podcast. Why are you the way you are?
Oh, that's great.
I actually like Noren this week, so.
Yeah, what'd you have him at?
I see him at 125 to 1 on William Hill. I'm sure my bookie in Circa is probably closer to 150.
He's 125 here.
Okay.
Looking a lot of 125s I'm seeing on Alex Noren. So, yeah, I don't know if you can do a whole lot better. So, yeah.
And then last week got Bryce Garnett, 200 to 1.
And did your wife pick that one?
No, I actually like that one.
So you're not taking Dougie Gim?
No, I said it.
He's 140 to 1 here on my bookie.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it on my bookie, then.
Account, buddy. Use promo code 12 on sports, by the way.
Fair enough.
Oh, that was great. Good plug. Beautiful.
All right, Tony, what's your long shots?
Yes. All right. So I have 6 that I've bet so far, and I think I'm going to add a 7th of the long shots. Yeah, I'm spraying the board. Again, I feel like I'm seeing things.
Week.
Yeah, I'm seeing things well these last 2 or 3 weeks. I really like what's happened. I know it wasn't really a winning week last week at the Masters, but the previous 2 or 3 weeks were, and I feel like I'm getting a really nice feel. This is usually the time it happens too. I tend to be a very poor handicapper very early in the season, like really early. You should fade me, and I don't tend to bet a lot, which is good.
U.S. Open, and then you kind of come out
that's usually the really good spot. But again, usually in April, I tend to get a little bit better. I like seeing a lot of the players hitting shots. I'm a visual guy, so yeah, this is really good stuff. Anyways, I'm very excited about these, as you can tell. So I have 6, and I think I'm going to add 7. I'll start from low and go high here, and these are going to be mostly circa numbers, although one is William Hill. So I also had Munoz last week, Sebastian Munoz. We're going to bet him again this week. Great number at circa 130 to 1. He's like 80 in a couple spots, 80 at Westgate, 88 or 75 or something at William Hill. But yeah, 130 at circa, that's not going to hold. That number's just not going to hold. There's no way, because the biggest number in Europe is 100 right now. So I think that's a good one, really, right there. To me, he's under 100, in this tournament. I really, really like him. He's played well here before. He plays well pretty much everywhere. This guy's a fucking stick as well. Huge fan of Munoz. Next guy, Dylan Fratelli, also at 130 to 1. He's ranging from 80 to 100, depending on where you look. 100 max in Europe as well. Dylan, really, really good fit here. Love the fit. He likes grinding. He likes interesting spots. He's a weird dude. Doesn't hit the driver all that well anyway, or all that long. So, I mean, this is a really good thing.
It's a good hybrid wood stake.
It is. And he enjoys weirdness, and he enjoys stuff like this. He likes to play in conditions. I really like his attitude. Dylan Fratelli, definitely a guy I really like in this tournament. Russell Knox. Yeah, there you go. Russell Knox, 150 over at William Hill. Actually, that's a really good number. William Hill. Again, this is a little bit more, I'll admit, course history type of stuff. Russell's 5 of 7 here with 4 top 20s. He missed the cut here last year. I think that's what skewed the number a little bit. He missed the cut. He was 1 out of his last 2 or 3 this season as well. But again, he's a guy that just fits really, really well here. Putts the best on Bermuda. He is a scrambling extraordinaire. He had a great season as a scrambler last year. He started out a little bit poor this year so far, but again, he's a guy when he can actually hit some shots on the green, he can be a force. So I like Russell at 150. And then my favorite bet of the week, who I've talked about here, and again, he's the king of Team No Putt and talks about it, makes fun of himself. He's a great dude, but if he's going to putt well, it's on the Bermuda. He's 3 shots better on Bermuda than he is on bent. He's 4.5 shots better on Bermuda versus POA. I mean, nobody's really good on POA, but that is nuts. So, Benny, nice little record here. He's never really had a top 5-ish or so, but he's contended a couple of different times. I don't understand the number. This number is just off, in my opinion. So, he's at circa at 224 to 1 right now. I know that he's a lot less in other spots. So again, take it for what you can. I think he's the kind of a guy that you just really want to have because his ball striking is so good when he's on, and he can putt here. He can actually do something. So he's my favorite pick of the week, number-wise. And then rounding it out, Maverick McNeely, another one of Token's guys, 265 at circa. Again, just a spot. This is a spot more than anything else. He's a short game dude. Putting, scrambling, et cetera, et cetera. He also tends to do well on courses that are not normal-ish. So he plays really, really well on courses at high elevation. He tends to play well on link-style courses. He's talked about some scores in links that when he was growing up, when he'd take trips with his family to Europe, he played the best out in links. He's that kind of player, so I like having a guy there. And then lastly, Brian Stewart at 300 to 1. Just the old grinding extraordinary. If this guy should have had a career in 1960, that would have been perfect. Yeah, he'd be nearly a Hall of Famer, really. But he maxes out at 280. Yeah,
Wrong
he
area.
met
Yeah.
280, and he's won twice maybe in his career, which is great for a guy maxing out 280. But Brian Stewart, wrong era, as you said. Michigan guy token. I know it's really sad to see, but
Still good to see one of the guys in there.
true, that's true. But I'm going to take him at 300 because his record's good here. He makes a lot of sense, and so that's my last guy. And then the seventh, I know I talked about there might be a seventh. Kevin Tway is making a comeback from. He's had a long-term injury. He's really quite good. Another really great ball striker when he's there. I don't know if he's there. But he's 1,000 to 1. It's circa 500 to 1 at Westgate, 500 a couple spots. So I don't know if he's there, but I think it might be good enough to take a flyer. I'm going to look at some social media stuff and try to see if I can figure out what's going on with Kevin Tway. But at 1,000 to 1, it might be worth a flyer because he's just really talented.
Before you get to yours, Aaron's, I'll give my tip of the cap that I forgot to mention, and that's Camilo Villegas at 2.
Yes. Yes. There you go.
So,
yes. Yeah. Oh, he's stealing the thunder.
Especially with his start a few weeks ago. So
yes, and his record here is also quite good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Steal the thunder from Aaron. I like it.
Tip the cap.
Yep.
Well, I'm not tipping. I'm putting the whole cap right on Camilo Villegas. That's the first one I got here. I'll start with him because he's not as sexy of a pick anymore because now tokens on him. Thanks for going. I do have Camilo Villegas at 300 to 1.
Yes.
Wasn't the lowest of my long shots. I'm taking a flyer here. Really, I'm just going to throw a couple bucks on him. I don't really expect him to contend, but Harold Varner III, 175 to 1 here on my bookie. A guy who kind of just plays target golf, and this might be a spot for him. And then we're really swinging the big D stick for the fences here. I got 3 guys. First guy I got is your first round leader of the 2020 RBC Heritage, Mark Hubbard at 450 to 1.
Good fit.
Yep. he didn't do much after that, but we know he can shoot a good round on this course, and maybe 4 good rounds would be good too. Second guy at 400 to 1 has won this tournament. It's the guy I bet sometimes almost every other week, Wesley Bryan, 400 to 1. What's he at circa there?
500.
Oh, well, then maybe I'll throw in an extra couple shekels on him at 500. What was Villegas at circa?
That one I had not seen. That's a great question. Villegas at circa. Let's find out. I'll try not to take too long here. It should be up. 325.
All right. Well, maybe my bookie's not giving me the best here when I can stay in town. And the last one here I got. You've already talked about it. We've talked about it. The guy's placed second 5 times at this course.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
600 to 1. And speaking of 600 to 1, I hope that's the position he's in at the end of Sunday there. Number 1, not number 600.
600 is a good number. I'll give you that. That's
Finished
440 over here at Circa. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of seconds. He's also really old and doesn't hit it anywhere. But, yeah, I mean, you never know.
Right.
That's okay.
1, I don't care if he putts it down the course.
True. Fair
We'll
point.
get it there eventually.
Fair point.
Also, boys, I regret to inform you, if you've been listening to the podcast, the official boys' trip to Pebble Beach is dead. Colin Morikawa did not complete the Grand Slam. So I forgot to mention at the top of the show. So I know all of you who are waiting on bated breath to see if we go to Pebble Beach.
That would have made a fun video.
How great would that have been? I would have spent, because he lives here, once he completed it, if he completed it, I would have spent like the next however long it took to get him to go to Pebble Beach with us.
That would have been awesome.
That would have taken.
He'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna need like 1,000. I'm gonna need like 1,500 up front." I'd be like, I got you. I got so much money because of you. He'd need.
That would have been pretty amazing. Yeah, I don't know. Just getting in contact with him after he wins a year Grand Slam, he'd be in golf lore for. I mean, that'd just be incredible. Be talked about it around the world.
Picture with him with the green jacket as well.
Yeah, that would probably be our highest. I can't fit in his green jacket. That guy's half my size.
He is a little guy. It's true.
I might be able to squeeze into that right now.
Wow, Token! Yes!
No,
look at Token!
I'm down to about size 44 now.
Yeah, but he don't wear a 44. Colin Morikawa is probably skinnier than Tony Johnson.
And Tony Johnson has also lost weight too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how big Morikawa is, but I think he's a little guy. I think he's pretty small.
He's got to be like 5'7", $150 soaking wet.
I think so. I don't know.
I
thought he was a little bigger than that.
I don't think you're getting.
He might have broader shoulders than you think, though. That's true. Yeah, he is better built than me for sure. Yeah, absolutely. He is.
A prop bet that I'll never have to pay. If Colin Morikawa wins a green jacket, and somehow you get to put it on, if you can button it, I'll pay you $100.
I'm still trying to lose a little extra weight, so.
If somehow all of those things fall into line and you get your hands
I love it.
Hey,
I want to
my
be
girlfriend
there.
said, what?
Matsuyama was up there. What'd you say?
My girlfriend said, what?
What?
It's not
Who's
that hard,
buttoning
dude.
what? Where?
Matsuyama was
I've
up
already
there
lost
the other
60.
day. I mean, just
Probably
chilling in
another
coach.
20.
Did you guys see that? Matsuyama chilling in coach at the airport at ATL or whatever they call that airport, Atlanta Airport.
Hartsfield? Really? He was just staying in the airport?
Flying coach. He was flying Chicago all the way to wherever he's from in Japan.
Wow. I did not see that. That is shocking,
pretty
actually.
awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it went viral. Guy was on his flight and everything to Chicago and blah, blah, blah. And he basically just violated all kinds of violated his privacy. That's okay. It's not me, so I don't care. All right, let's move into the matchups here. I don't have any this week. I may have some before the tournament starts. I'll put those out on Twitter, but I'm sure that you guys got a couple of them here.
That we do.
Who's starting? Is it me?
Go
Usually
Tony.
Token finishes, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay.
It's always Token.
I'll
Okay.
go first.
Token. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So I got Strillman over Glover at -110. We got Zalatoris over Morikawa at +115. Definitely saw some value in that one.
You and everybody else.
Wow. That
Yeah.
takes some stones there. Wow, it does. Okay.
Well, Morikawa is more of a longer hitter than Zalatoris, in my opinion, and Zalatoris kind of better all-around ball striker and scrambler.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'll
Plus
take
money,
that.
I'll take it all day, every
I'll
day.
take that bet for 4 to 5 push-ups.
4 to 5. So I do 4 if Morikawa wins. You do 5 if Zalatoris wins.
Yep.
Okay, I'll
How
agree
about
to that.
somebody does push-ups for Willie Z being said a better ball striker than Colin Morikawa? That was just said on this podcast.
I'm not going to do push-ups for something he said.
And then last
Token.
we got my favorite pick of the week. We got Abraham Ancer over Cam Smith at -105.
I saw that one too.
I like that.
That's an interesting
Even though I have
one.
Cam Smith, I like that.
Yeah.
I hope it's.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. All right. Wow. Token laying it down, calling out Willie Z as a better ball striker than a
It's pretty
recent
close.
major winner.
He can't fit in Colin's green jacket.
Love it. I love it. You know what? Token just goes after it. He says what he feels. I've always respected.
Hey, I've been on Zalatoris for 2+ years.
You have. That's true. You might as well go with it, right?
Doesn't
Absolutely.
make your statement a fact.
That's true too. But
I'm
okay. There we go. Wow. I have 4 matchups, 2 that I'm more heavily on, I will say, than the other 2. But yeah, so my favorite one of the week, I guess we'll just start with it. Why not? Let's go. Brian Harman over Corey Connors. I'm not trying to necessarily play against Corey Connors. I know it sort of sounds like that. It's not intentional. I like Corey, nothing against him, of course. I've certainly had bet on him in the past. I think he's overvalued right now. I know he did have a nice Masters. Again, I'm not saying he's not playing well. He certainly is, but I don't know. And for Brian Harman, who clearly has a very, very good record here, and makes a ton of sense, not only just because of the record, but makes a lot of sense for the type of golf that this is. Corey Connors is not. He's only 1 out of 3. Now the one cut they did make was last year, but 2 previous missed cuts. It's a tough spot, putting on Bermuda, Canadians, it doesn't tend to make a lot of sense. So Brian Harman plus 100 over Corey Connors. Again, I just think the wrong guy's favorite here at William Hill. My line is like Harman minus 130. I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's sort of where I stand. And then adding on the Connors train, this is a smaller wager. I do have Ancer over Corey Connors. They're both minus 110 over at Westgate. So a coin flip type of situation. The coin flip spot, I'm going to take the better player, and that's Abraham Ancer. I think relatively confident in that selection. So the other 2 are Tyrrell Hatton. I'm going to go back to the well with Tyrrell over Paul Casey. Tyrrell minus 120 against Casey over at Westgate. And then finally, the last Westgate bet, and my second favorite bet, this is the other large wager that I have here, is we have a battle of, I guess, South America versus Mexico. We have Sebastian Munoz against Carlos Ortiz, another coin flipper, minus 110. As you would expect, I have Munoz here with an outright win, so we're going to go with Munoz minus 110. I'm not quite sure why this is 110 each. This should be Munoz favorite all day long. Carlos has played well, and he's obviously recently won, but that was last season. This is not, again, 4, 5, 6 weeks. He's played moderately well to varying success. He's missed a few cuts. Munoz has been an absolute hammer. So we're going to stick with Munoz right there, and those are my 4 that I have right now, but we'll see. May add some as the week goes on.
All right, Token. Let's find that $1 million lineup here.
All right, so I'm going to start out with, we got Willie Zizzle lead off at 9,700.
Purest ball striker in the business.
Yep.
Well, at least better than
Sticking
Morikawa.
with my guns. And then just because Corey Connors has been playing pretty well, I don't expect him to win or contend, but I expect him to do fairly well this week at 9,300.
What a weird thing to
Corey
say.
Connors.
I don't expect him to win or contend,
But play well.
yeah, but I'm going to pay 10 grand for him.
Then we got definitely for sure top 10 next. We got Abraham Answer at 8,900.
He hasn't said he had the winner yet.
Nope. Then moving on to another contender, we got Carlos Ortiz for 7,400.
Wow. Interesting.
Another contender, we got Kevin Streelman for 7,300. And then the winner, we got Brennan Todd for 7,300 with 100 left on the table. I think Stanley approves of that lineup.
He didn't like that bet.
Oh, man.
He said, boy, your winner's a basement dweller, son.
He's actually one of my favorites.
You like the basement dweller.
Yeah, you're on Todd pretty hard this week. Yeah, I mean it seemingly would make sense. He needs to get out of his own way again. It seems like he has not had a good start to the season.
Played too good in 2020, and it's just regressing to the mean here in 2021.
Oh.
So, all right, well, I'll start it off here. As this is big. This is a big token spot. But since the Korn Ferry Tour is here in Vegas,
yes,
your boy's got other tour action right here.
Nice.
I do too.
Yeah, I do as well. I have 2 other tours, just not this one. But yes, go please.
Well, I'm gonna throw mine out. I got 2 guys. They're near the first clump here. I got Harry Hall, 22-1, and Brandon Wu at 35-1.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm gonna watch. Hopefully, I can be successful with them. I'm gonna throw $5 on each of them. See what happens.
Fair enough. I kind of looked at Wu as well. Decided to pass on him, but for me, for the MGM Resorts tournament, I like more of the bottom dwellers this time around. I think Jaeger and Lipsky definitely have lower value than they should have probably in this one.
Well,
I almost looked at.
I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but like, this is crazy. It's very rare. I know that Tony, you have a lot more experience in golf, but it's very rare, at least for me and maybe Token, that there's an event on a course I've played frequently. And actually, of the 3 courses at Paiute, I think I play the best on this one. So
that is cool.
I don't disagree with your basement dweller thing in a sense of, you're right, this could be wide open. This is not a hard course. The wind may make it hard, but this is not a
The wind will definitely be a factor, and that's for damn sure.
I'm super excited to I mean, like you said, I stayed near the top in this one, but you're right, this could be anybody's game.
Yes, and so with that being said, I like Josh Theater at 65-1, and for even more of a longer shot, I like Jared Wolf with 125-1.
I can't play Wolf on the Sun course. You got to play Wolf on the Wolf course.
Well, it's Wolf with an E, so he makes it Sun E.
2 F's. That's spelled D.
He makes it Sun E.
There you go.
Wow.
I even have matchups.
That was a lot of bad jokes
too, so.
in a little 10-second period.
I even have.
And it wasn't just you, Aaron.
That's the worst part.
So here are the matchups.
Oh, yeah. So I got Jaeger over Swenson at -115. I wonder if Swenson's actually related to Jesper Swenson, which is a PBA bowler. but I highly doubt it. And then we got Max McGreevy over Lee Hodges for even
Google
money.
that, right?
Yeah. I like Jaeger in the matchup, but just not for the future.
No, I think you just Google if he's related.
Yeah.
Something might come up, yeah.
Google is your friend.
He's probably Swedish as well, but
Good read.
yeah.
Is that it?
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Just those two matchups.
Well, I don't have any Corn Ferry action, although I wish I did. It's just, Aaron, your advantage here, and I know you brought that up, but I think it's important to note, because we talk about sometimes these things, when you really do know a course, especially how the variance of that course can play. When it plays with wind, when it plays with certain weather, certain situations or time of the year, and you get to know, obviously getting to know these players as we've talked about. I know it's Corn Ferry, so we don't know them as well, but it can be a huge, huge advantage. I can't say that there's a course that I've played a lot that the tour players regularly play. There isn't that I can think of. They used to play a course called the Glen Club in the Chicagoland area, which I played 7 or 8 times. But it's not like regularity like you have with Paiute. So, it's something. But
I should have given a course outline.
You should have, absolutely, and use it to your advantage. Is the whole thing is anything you can grasp a hold of, use to your advantage, because the odds makers, yes, they're quite good and they're really good at numbers and understanding where guys can make sense. They don't have that course knowledge that you have. They just don't. So again, I just wanted to note that. But I hope you guys do well with those. I'm going to go quickly to a couple of tours. I have not done the matchups for those 2 tours yet, but I do have some future, so I'll just go ahead and fire those out there. I do have some Champions Tour action. It is a course that I do know a little bit, Tiburon Golf Club in Naples. I haven't played there, but I've seen this tournament 3 or 4 times, and I do know the course. This is a course where it tends to be shorter hitters and or more accurate ball strikers tend to do better at. So, and the odds reflect that. They really do. So they're pretty good at this, obviously. I get that, but so the 3 guys, I have 3 guys right now. We got David Toms at 30-1, Scott McCarron at 100-1, and Krista Marco at 500-1, who has been practicing a lot and playing pretty well off tour. Now I know obviously in competition is clearly different. He is a Florida guy, and I do think that DeMarco, when he puts time in, can actually be quite good on this tour. He's gotten healthier. He's had some back issues. He had a spinal surgery 3 years ago, and he seems to be a lot better. So that might be something at 500-1 there. And then going towards the Lotte Championship in Hawaii, I do have 3 players on the LPGA Tour. My favorite by far, Jennifer Kupcho at 80-1. She just continues to play well. Can't really get it done. Has a little Tony Finau style out there. Really not playing well on Sundays, but a lot of game for that young American at 80-1. And then we did unfortunately go a little bit more chalk heavy on the other side here, which it is what it is. I got Nelly Korda at 9-1. And then Inji Chun at 35-1. Nelly just seems really tailor-made for this course. Not only is she playing maybe the best golf out of maybe anybody on the LPGA, but this is a course where she can just sling it out there and let it go. It's pretty wide open. It's a resort-style course on Oahu, and she's one of, if not the longest hitter on the LPGA. Now, I think she's longer than Lexi at this point, so... And when you're playing that well and you're hitting it great, 9-1, I know it doesn't sound good, but I think she can lap the field.
Value in that.
Together. Yeah, I honestly think there is. It's weird to say that, but
even 10 yards difference is a huge advantage on the LPGA.
Yeah, so hopefully that comes through. Those are my 3 there. I'm going to have some matches for those other 2, but nothing quite yet. But yeah, and then in Europe, they're in Austria, and I know there's a lot of the big-time golf handicappers that are handicapping this one, maybe the biggest out of anything this week, because this is the highest elevation tournament they play. It's about I think it's almost 6,000 feet above sea level there in Atzenberg, Vienna, Austria. There's a ski resort actually right in the area. Might even be higher than 6,000 square feet. 6,000 feet above. I can't remember. But yeah, so a lot of players that tend to play well, in elevation, guys that don't. players that are seeing the course. A lot of stuff going on in Europe. This is one of the great weeks for handicapping golf. Again, I haven't done that one. There's too much else going on, but something to look out for if you're late night, early morning on the Golf Channel. It's a beautiful, beautiful resort in Austria, so highly recommend seeing that.
Oh, sweet. Since I work late nights, that's when I'll probably be watching.
There you go.
Nice.
A little Euro tour. All right. Well, that is a jam-packed show. I know we're putting together all of this. I don't know if we expected this long, so we hope you stayed with us till the end. Got yourself some value picks, value plays.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh yeah, I was hoping you'd forget.
Good call, Token. Good call.
All right. No, I was gonna pay it out. I was just trying to go. All right. 2 push-ups. I owe you 2 push-ups.
Yep. You can do one girly if you can't do 2.
Oh, I think I can do 2. I think the dog will help.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley.
Stanley's awesome. Yep.
1, 2.
Absolutely. All right.
There you go.
8 and full.
There, I'll
Love
give
it.
you a clap for that.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, let's hope we make this.
Thank you, Fleetwood.
All right, well, let's thank the sponsors here before we wrap it up. Obviously, first and foremost, 12-Ounce Sports, who broadcasts us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the 12-Ounce Sports website, 12ouncesportsnetwork.com. Please, while you're there, check out the sports store and support all the podcasts and shows by buying merch. Our 2 title sponsors, Fanatics.com and Vice Golf. Please head to LV Squares and use the dedicated affiliate links to shop those. That way it helps out the podcast, gives us a little money, and you get the great golf and sports gear for the fans in your life. I'm a little winded, I'm not going to lie.
No, push-ups are legit. They are legit. Absolutely.
All right, I'm not going to go into the other ones. HEATR bet tracking in the whole golf and ProAm Customizations. We thank you, but I don't have enough breath to give you the publicity that you deserve. So for Tony Johnson, for Token Tony, I am Aaron. We appreciate you guys listening. Good luck on your bets, and we will see you next week.